here onto Labs. Dante's going to once again be enjoying...
Okay. Sip of water. Let's see what happens here. 23 and 5, by the way. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
But you could be going up against a more...
Okay. Glad's playing a bit slower here. Cracks knuckles. Oh, I got a few. Plays a bit slower here. Has to play around Ramatra slow, Bionade, Cassidy damage. See what Kevster does. Boston Uprising gonna play super aggro here. With the Winston. I wanna see what the K does. And the Bionades. Okay, we got a Legic on Decay flank onto Bobble. Smurf comes in. Alright, good dive.
He's trying to counterpick as much as he can, and I think he's quite comfortable in the Winston mirror. And so far, you've lost Babel.
Alright, good dive. Initiated by Legic on a Decay. And now a bit of cleanup. That was last match. Yeah, the Redbirds match just got postponed because they got like a tornado warning.
In the bottom left next to his portrait, it's a good chance to talk about the accolades of a Boston Uprising. I believe the most title wins of...
All right, same thing. Let's see. Twilight's far back. They want to dive on the point here, so Twilight has sidelines. Decay on the flank.
Only Decay has actually not walked away with a...
Kevster up front. Gladiator is going to take the high ground here. Decay is on the flank here. Is going to poke Dante. Dante's half health. Slow gets used on top of Smurf. So Gladiators technically have position here. Dante takes a lot of poke. Kevster, I think he's going for like the back line. So Tracers not fighting each other, trading tank damage. Still, Dante taking a lot of damage. But because they poked away Smurf, they got some kind of like point control here. This is probably where you want to go for like a re-engage kind of type of dive here. Decay has a pulse bomb pretty soon as well. Goes in for it. They go with the re-engage. Great bubble. Kevster with a huge kind of like peel bomb on the Smurf. Kevster been putting a lot of pressure on the Smurf so far. Okay, so you traded tanks. Boston has the high ground. Okay, now they have to fall back. Huge flank coming from Kevster. Kevster is kind of fucking right now. He's going crazy with it. Nano re-engage onto Birdring. Birdring straight up carries. Okay, that's a huge hero play from Birdring. Oh yeah, Kevster's trading.
Barely holding on to this point, falling back now to their healers. Smurf will have presence just to anchor.
Okay, slow gets used on Smurf again. He tries to reposition pretty quickly this time to minimize damage, retain his position, doesn't get poked away. Decay remains to poke onto Dante here, doesn't take the Tracer duel. Pretty poor positioning here. I feel like Decay uses a blink again. Not sure what he's going to achieve here. High Noon gets used for point control. I kind of like this actually because Smurf gets poked away here. This means the Gladiators have to get forced off the point somehow. Gladiators probably going to use their Nano to re-engage themselves. Just gotta survive a few more seconds. Great bait by Dante. Okay, here probably comes the Nano. Nano onto Dante. You can retain this point control. Kaya's positioning. Gladiators gets a couple of picks. Okay, so let's think through what was actually well there. So Gladiators putting a lot of pressure onto Smurf so far. Kevster having a good game. Ramatra is kind of working out for them. Boston probably feeling at this point like they have to go past Ramatra or something. Oh, third ring finds Funny Astro.
And even staggering out Boston late here is big, but Gladiators have quite a gap in the score to close.
Oh, that was such a long punch. Mr. Fantastic would be eyeing that enviously.
Okay.
Now Dante has access to the annihilation.
Let's see if Decay is gonna continue attacking Dante here. Okay, opening himself up for a flank a little. Birdring's like very one health here. Dante holds the high ground still. Trying to make it very hard for Boston to dive the backline and Kai here. Not a ton of damage coming in from Decay here. I need him to like set up his team for do something. Smurf dives onto Dante. I don't love that. Boston are kind of a little bit all over the place here. I don't think they exactly know how to break this attack down. Decay hasn't really been doing anything this past 5 seconds. Smurf just poked to get an ult out. Okay, entire team rotating now. Trying to set them up for a nade, perhaps. And Decay is gonna get this pulse bomb. Okay, here comes the dive. Decay, Smurf, Legion at the same time, diving in. Beat gets forced. Counter beat to survive in the fight because you want to keep up the pressure. If the beat doesn't come through for Boston here, then you kind of like have to back off. But they're on a time limit because they actually have to play more aggressively here with the lack of Ramatra protection. So they're just gonna keep pushing here. Birdring goes down. Great reactive play by Dante. I don't know where he is actually. And you get one backliner. Decent trades here by Dante actually. Well played by him. But Boston just plays like ultra dive here to get to the backline. They did get to the backline. They use beat to keep themselves in the fight and just keep applying pressure.
Okay, so let's talk about right now something that's going to be
and Decay is with them. He's diving with them, but he's not like the huge like flank heavy playmaker. But he is on the same page and he is executing according to tactics, so you can't fault him for that. Doing a good job so far. Now let's see pre-fight how they actually set up here. Decay is in the same spot still. He is going to pressure Dante here. He has the pulse bomb, so I would love to see a pulse bomb come out here. There's nothing really to, you know, screw with it. Decay going to play with Smurf now, poking Kevster a bit. Decay has used a couple of blinks here, so he's going to be pretty limited when it comes to mobility. Slow comes out on Smurf again. We've seen this like 3 times so far this round. Nade comes out onto Decay. This is going to slow Boston down severely, but there was a bit of an accidental nade there. Recall comes out. Smurf dives without Decay. But it's just, yeah, too much. And I think Decay got there in time as well anyway, so. Decent. Pretty good dive there. Let's see if you're Gladiators in this fight. I mean, you know this Nano is up. So Kevster is gonna keep trying to poke Smurf. Sees that Decay is playing with his Winston. Decay... I think Kevster is pursuing Decay here. I don't know where the traces are. Yeah, he is. Gets Decay low. So forces recall. Dives come from Smurf. Onto Kai. Yeah, I mean, if you don't sleep here. Where is Funny Astro? Funny Astro is just kind of chilling by the pillar. Wouldn't you want to try to boop? Like, either help harassing Decay or boop Smurf when this dive comes in. You know you're so susceptible to the dive, but Funny Astro is just kind of like vibing. It's a bit odd. I don't know what his goal is here. And Annihilation comes out, and that's the sleep moment, yeah. It's the last fight, to be fair. Oh, Funny Astro's trying to speed... Oh, Funny Astro's trying to speed Dante with the Annihilation. That's probably why. You get some kind of value, but... Really strong dives coming out from Boston Uprising, coordinated, synced up.
Doing so much damage. He's currently on track for 11k damage per 10 minutes. Compare that to Kai on the Cassidy, who's on track for 7.4k damage.
Was I need to touch, probably.
Kai was in a losing scenario, but Birdring is hitting shots right now. And that's what matters most.
So Gladiators playing much more of a positional game with the Ramatra so far. Kevster's dealing a lot of damage to Smurf.
What's important to consider with the big damage gap you just brought on is Smurf is making a lot more space than Dante is. That big Annihilation ultimate of Dante got slept. Shout out to Twilight there. He was a highline on the Toronto Defiant. You're glad you picked him up, one of the best Anas in the league. And Decay has 0 deaths and is following along with Smurf so well. We go to sub-level now where Brawl is a lot stronger.
Okay, so let's see. Gladiators again comes out on the Ramatra. They're gonna try to take this high ground, play the shield game. Kai playing the Hanzo. Okay, slow gets used pretty quickly here. They are using this high ground. Dive comes in. Nice boop from Funny Astro. I think Lee Jae-gon boops Dante here as well. See if we can tell from the acceleration. Yeah, that's a boop. Good boop by Lee Jae-gon here to force Dante down towards the point. You lose the high ground. Means Birdring can utilize the high ground more if he wants to. Are they gonna rotate? No, they're gonna stay here. Okay. Oh, here we go. So now Boston is in a really good positioning because of Lee Jae-gon's boop. Gladiators are gonna try to contest here. Get some tick. You're Boston. I don't think you're too intimidated here. Okay, so a pretty lucky arrow from Kai. I mean, he is very good at the game. And Dante clears Lee Jae-gon on the point, which is not great. Is that Kevster as well? Kevster applying a lot of pressure onto Smurf throughout this first map. I mean, it looks like Smurf takes a lot of damage from all kinds of stuff. Lucio is there. Yeah, Funny Astro's there. Kevster's... No, Kevster's... The heck? The Kevster does blink up there. I think Kevster just gets domed. Okay, so let's see if they can maintain this high ground now. Not get booped. Okay, immediately pressuring the point. Decay is playing with Smurf here. See, Birdring's on the high ground. Dive comes in from Boston. No, that doesn't work out. Great disengaged by Gladiators here. Dante! Oh, he's trying to survive. He's trying to survive the best he can. And Kevster hits the pulse on the Smurf. So, good disengage by the Gladiators. Decay and Smurf are pretty well synced together. I feel like they're doing a lot of damage together and they're finding a couple of picks there, but Gladiators are definitely having like the moments, like the arrows and the picks and stuff like that. Slow comes in from Dante, so well played by Gladiators so far with this comp. Playing spacing really well are the Gladiators. Popping the Annihilation here, they're gonna clean up.
Ooh, what Annihilation too. Even if it got bubbled off, he's still got a 3k at the end. Dante showing how it's done. And keeping this high ground, being able to defend it too, is gonna be big for this Brawl comp.
Fantastic bit of shepherding as well from Dante to force them into Babel's sightline in order to allow Babel to hit that big nade. Unfortunately, Smurf...
Oh, okay, so we got No from the Gladiators, we got Dragon, Beat from both teams. Birdring is gonna high noon here, probably not, because he doesn't have anything to high noon behind. Decay has a pulse here. Dive comes in here. That's a good, like, half dive, like Smurf's not going all the way in, but enough to like force Gladiators off this high ground. Great shield by Smurf. Wouldn't expect anything else different. Yeah, and DJ gone with the Ajax. Doing a VOD review. Yeah, I'm just reviewing sort of like it was so fucking loud. When there's like 8 people yelling in a Discord, like it's so loud. I can't really tell what's going on. So I just want to like a better idea of what actually went down. True, Lemon Kiwi, true. Okay. So the This is an Ajax, but what else happens? Again, you have Boston Uprising kind of jumping for positioning here. Okay, so here we are. Stage 2 of the fight. Dante gets nanoed on the high ground. Big problem for Boston Uprising. Birdring is sort of playing their side of the... I don't know what you want to call it. There's the Ajax. High Noon does come out from Birdring. Finds Funny Astro. So you trade Lucio's here. That's huge by Birdring. Great slow by Dante here. Birdring just finds another one. Birdring straight up just like looking really good. Having a lot of impact in these fights. And Dante overextends by himself. What does Kevster do? Kevster dies to Birdring, right? Where is... I don't know what Kevster is. Okay. So, again, Gladiators usually playing really good positioning, but Birdring finds like it's like a half flank High Noon kind of thing, and he finds Lucio, and then Kevster trying to dive, but Dante was a bit out of the position, so exposes Kevster because he doesn't have protection from his tank. Okay. Decay going for a bit of a pulse here, maybe. Aggressive dives come in from Boston Uprising. I guess they're trying to force beat or something like that. Yeah. You can tell by this leap from Smurf that, again, it's not like it's an all-in dive. He's playing like the pillar for protection. So he's going to drop this bubble, be able to hide behind the pillar, but also be able to like take one more step out of his bubble. So it's almost like he has 2 layers of protection. So they're not trying to kill someone with this dive, per se, because it's such a like protected jump from Smurf. But they're trying to get like the beat out or something, it feels like here. Huge pulse by Kevster. This is gonna open up things for the Gladiators. Let's see. They're gonna let the Gladiators in here, and then I think they're gonna like primal and maybe hope for a pulse to like dive past Dante and the boys. Yeah, Smurf goes in here, past the tanks, primal for space. Decay is getting peeled off the point right now. They force the beat. Legion is in this mix too. So this is great understanding from Boston Uprising that like, hey, we lost a member, but we can't let them cap the point. And so we need to like go aggressive into the back line. We're gonna force an ult. We can't afford to take a fight on the point, so we're like gonna fight in your back line. Beat comes out from Funny Astro. That's good enough for Smurf. Now you just have to buy time. Now you just have to buy time. Don't overextend here. Legion, please don't die here. Huge sleep coming in from Bubble. Or sorry, from Twilight. This is Boston buying time. Legion, don't die. Everyone playing the bubble right here, trying to establish some kind of trying to establish the neutral. They're probably going to lose this neutral though, especially with the Ramatra doing a lot of pokes, so they lose the neutral. This is fine though. This is Ben. You got out to beat. You just need to like recollect yourself. Pulse comes out, doesn't hit anything. If that pulse lands, honestly, like you got the high ground. You're in a great position if you're Boston Uprising here. But Kai finds a pick here.
Oh, I feel like we've already got a banger on our hands, and we're not even halfway through Antarctic Peninsula. What a performance from Kevster.
Okay, so takeaways from this again. The Gladiators very much understanding here in the second round that like Boston Uprising, they're playing super aggressive, and so we need to peel back. We need to disengage more. I feel like the disengages were way better. It helps that the map layout of this round specifically, it makes it easier. There's more like corners you have to navigate around if you're the diving team. So there were a couple of corners that the Gladiators they like disengaged around, And if you're Boston, you don't want to overextend too much. And so definitely harder for Boston Uprising to commit past some of these corners, which allowed Gladiators to peel back really well. Again, they're playing the point well. Kevster is pressuring enemy tanks like Smurf, for example, giving Dante point control. And it sort of forces Boston Uprising's hand here to go aggressive in some of these dives. Birdring had a couple of nice moments. I mean, this is a high level matchup. Boston Uprising with some nice responses to the positioning that Gladiators are playing. I'm trying to retain as much information as I can while I'm also trying to do a pretty speedy VOD review here. So, but I just wish, and like I can't wish because it's not like he can't do anything about it. But if only Decay had like 1 or 2 pulse bomb moments, you know what I mean, in these fights, like Boston could just like take a pretty mid fight or like a pretty subpar fight for Boston and actually make it very winnable. Of course, we had this as well. This doesn't help. The Ajax doesn't help here. There was one fight there where, following that, Dante, Kevster, they were a bit off the mark when it comes to like the dives and overextending, stuff like that. But
especially with Dante there, you can't underestimate how much damage Ramatra does.
Overall, though, a very high-level matchup here, and Gladiators trying to play more positioning with this Ramatra pick, and Boston Uprising being forced to dive and play more aggressively. Okay, so we have the Doomfist here instead now.
Fall back behind his tank would have been the better move. Either way.
It's going to be pretty explosive here from the Boston Uprising. You can peel this Ramatra somewhat, but you can also go in for some pretty extreme dives. See if Birdring can use this slow as well. I mean, he can use the shots. You can just hit people, just shoot people.
It's 4v4 though. Got to be using these jumps from Sojourn quite carefully around maybe Kevster and how much pressure he is putting on.
But I kind of like the Doomfist pick here on this round especially, because if you're a Winston here, there's not like a lot of like escape routes, I feel like, if you're playing the Winston here. So the Doomfist, by the fact that you're able to charge your shield and also play more explosive with like your leaps and your punches and stuff like that, you don't risk taking too much damage like in between your leaps. And so I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what Smurf is like, what his reasoning is. You know, I'd love to hear him talk about it. But I feel like it's pretty explosive picks that works well on this round.
And nothing that Bunny Asher could speed him out of. Gladiator doesn't even get control of the point throughout that.
Like, if you just look at Smurf's movement, just like the way he sort of like accelerates throughout this dive here. So he's playing with the team here. He's coming in pretty late, actually. I mean, Dante's dead, so they're going to push the pace. But Seismic Slam onto the point. If someone's here, he's already like charging shield. Then goes for punch. And then can Seismic Slam in again. It's way more like, you know, I mean, it's like a fighter style, but like I feel like he scales this point way more explosively than he would a Winston, where it's like walk up, leap, wait for cooldowns, leap up again, you know, play around some pillars, just like sap people. Like the Doomfist on this round is actually quite nice. I like it.
Gladiators now, we have to try and cover the distance towards Smurf and Bird
and if you're like Bobble or something here, like you might just walk through this wall right here and just get like dove on and you're dead. Seismic Slam blocks a little. Probably has to disengage here, but that's fine. Okay, he's actually going to retain on the point here. Like Gladiators, they just want to build this Nano. They just want to build this Nano and then probably push in with Kai. He's going to be the #1 threat here. Okay. Here's that explosive dive from Smurf. He's taking a lot of... He goes in when he's like half health here, though. Like, he's already like 20% health. This is probably not what Boston Uprising wanted to. So, all right. Okay, so they actually no Dante here instead. It's a bit of a failed dive from Boston Uprising coming in here. I'm not going to be too harsh on them. They had an idea, but the execution was pretty poor. It's fine. Let's see what else happens here. Bio comes in from Twilight. It's going to hit Bobble. Comes a massive dive target here. They probably just follow the nade. Like, as soon as Smurf sees this nade, he probably just, like, goes with the trajectory of the nade. Decay is so close. So Decay just built his pulse bomb. Where is Decay, by the way? Is he playing on the point? Yeah, Decay is actually, like, to the right now. He's actually playing off the point a little bit. So, Decay is not, like... He's double blinking here, I suppose. Decay is still on the left side. So, Decay is not even, like... Decay's timing is off here with Legion and Smurf. So, this would be, like, the first... oh, I guess Kai is on the left here. Where is Kai? Okay, Kai is low. Is that Bobble? Yeah, that's Bobble. Wow, this is so hard about the replay viewer. Come on. Come on, buddy. Show yourself to me. Bro, I don't know. Is Kai, like, behind the pillar here? I don't fucking know. It's a quick 180 from Dante. I don't know where Kai is, but I'm going to assume that Kai is playing, like, to the left here or something. Is he below? I don't know.
And the pressure on the back line is huge. Kevster alongside him, but Decay had a few frags here and there. Now it's Kevster going after Twilight.
So yeah, I'm guessing Decay took some duel there with Kai, and that's why he's not diving with the rest of the team. But it's even a miracle that, like, Gladiators are in this fight in the first place. Or, I mean, Boston, actually. So, they clear up Smurf. They follow up on the nade. And Kai dies for whatever reason. So, 3 versus 3. Dante kills Birdring with Kevster. Sleep onto Dante is going to slow down Gladiators massively here. Kevster win the Tracer duel. So, it's actually just Smurf and Twilight right now. 2 versus 2. Recall going to be forced. So Twilight actually buys a lot of time here for Smurf to come back. Okay. And Smurf is back. Wow. With Legion. That's actually crazy. The timing there. Just in a nick of time. Okay, so let's see. This is going to be like a trickle-down fight. Not a lot of, like, planned out stuff. There's going to be a bit of a brawl here. Dante pops the Annihilation here to regen some health. Legion going to die here. Wonder if Legion could have played this better. He's really scared of the Ramatra, so he's trying to stay away from the Ramatra right now, but that pushes him into the Tracer and then back into the Ramatra. I mean, you can't do anything if it's Legion right here. If you're Legion, you can't do anything here. Birdring. Yeah. I mean, they tried. They tried. Pretty good reset, though. Only Legion died. If you're Legion, he pretty much had to do that. That was not like an int. It was actually like a pretty half-decent attempt. You get the Annihilation out, so you can even look at it that way. You got the Annihilation out for a quick trade. You'll take those. So, let's see here. We got Nono for Boston. And we got Beat. And Pulse for the Gladiators. Nono Smurf here. Probably going for an explosive dive. You get the sound barrier out. Okay. Sound barrier doesn't hit Kai. Dante, like, doesn't care about the dive, though. So, this is where it gets a bit iffy here. So, Gladiators are going to identify that these quick explosive dives come out. And Dante is going to use his Nemesis form to just kind of like mess around in the back line of the Boston Uprising. Can't really see this because, again, don't know what's going on. But I'm assuming that Kevster is here too. Actually, Funny Astro is also diving here. So, yeah, I mean, that's really good dive coming out from the Gladiators there. With Funny Astro, with Kevster, with Dante, and they're just pushing the backline.
I think Boston, they're actually trying for
okay. Let's see how Kevster plays this, because Kevster knows now that he is the only one with an ultimate. You probably don't want to lose this fight, so it's up to Kevster to make a big play here. They know that Legion has beat, so they probably would like to force this beat out somehow. Where is Kevster playing right now? Here's Kevster. He's playing very far away, actually, so maybe they'll even disengage here to let Boston in and give Kevster an opening of some kind. Trying to peel. Oh, and he whiffs the pulse. It would have been pretty big. Decay hits his pulse. Good sleep, but... yeah, it's a tough fight for the Gladiators. You only have a pulse bomb to make a play with, but... Kevster whiffed it and they just, like, fell apart right there. They got the sound barrier out, though. I wonder if they could have saved that sound barrier.
Trying to remove Smurf out of the picture. Sound barrier from Lee J gone. Boston up by 3 kills. Decay slept, but he's well protected.
Okay.
Now that's a good fight for Boston.
Nice double slam kill as
well. The little Legion gone beat engage.
And Los Angeles Gladiators, they might want to take a little bit of
you know, I'm not going to say there was a wasted beat because, you know, you use an ultimate, you want to fight. It's never a bad thing. Almost never. Almost never a bad thing. You use an ultimate, you want to fight. All right. Fair enough. Probably, maybe didn't have to use it, but, you know, playing hindsight 2020, who cares? You won the fight. You used the beat. All right. Okay. So, Boston Uprising here. Oh, this is really tough for both teams here.
The silliness may continue. Check this out.
Probably going to be like some kind of Bionade wars here. Where if you get a good Bionade or a good sleep, it could be a massive difference maker. There's a good sleep. Great slow. Defensive nade from Boston Uprising. This is actually good for Gladiators because it buys them time now. They're going to build this nano. And aggressive nade comes out. Gladiators now, they can be pretty content here because they can play this. They can play like the second engage here. They can build a nano. Recall is forced by Kevster. That's going to open up the angles for Decay. Dive comes out onto Kai. I think this is fine though. I think this is fine if you're Glads. Now you can nano, Dante, re-engage. Kevster is just crazy. How is Crazer? Crazer? Kevster? Tracer? Crazer? How is he doing so much, man? I don't know where he is. Like, are you supposed to just, like, win duels like this? Who deals damage to Lee Jae-gon? Is it like Dante or something? I don't know. Oh, that's crazy. Kevster finds 2. Smurf's gonna go down here too.
So you don't need to use that ultimate. They will need to flip the point though. It's 99 for Boston. They have Annihilation and Barrier to think about for the next fight.
Oh, a stagger here would be brutal, and indeed it is. Kevster's getting so much.
Kevster is crazy with it.
Enemy over here multiple times.
Okay, Boston Uprising. All right. Last fight here. Gladiators pretty happy to let them come into them, play into the Annihilation, play around the Annihilation on the point here. Kevster has a pulse bomb here. Funny Astro has a beat. So if you're Gladiators, I think you're pretty confident that you can outlast your opponent here. You can just play positioning on the point, let them come into you kind of thing. You have point control. And then that way you'll find like a pick or two as they try to trickle down into the point. If you're Boston Uprising from this position, they're all going to nano Sojourn here, spoiler alert. But I guess
singular moment.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of just like an all-in attempt here, because if you know Smurf in this position, you probably get the beat out. You're going to see like an aggressive dive comes out. Smurf is guaranteed to get back, but that's also going to open up the door for players like Kevster, for example, to hit pulse bombs onto Birdring. We've seen in the past where when Boston Uprising in this round, when they go aggressive, that opens up the door for Dante, Kevster to counter dive the backline of the Boston Uprising. So the Nano, it's almost like for the, to make sure that Birdring is alive as well for this overclock. So it's a bit of an all-in play, but it's kind of what you have to do if you're Boston Uprising, especially because you've already in this round struggled with getting dove upon. So, I mean, this is just like a fucking tank. A Nano overclock is just a tank. Kai probably wasn't even expecting that, to be honest with you. I mean, Smurf is actually on the point here, so they're already on here fighting. Lijigon and Smurf gets through below. Smurf is just going for Funny Astro. Yeah, you can see that Smurf is just like targeting Funny Astro, gets the beat out. If you get Ajax, Funny Astro here, I mean, you pretty much like won it. So they're very, very cognizant by the fact that Funny Astro has this sound barrier and they want to get it out. But it's also pretty nice. I think it's a cognizant decision from Boston Uprising to have Lijigon, Decay, and Smurf go out from the right position here, because it means that Gladiators are not going to be where Birdring is right now. So it's almost like you open up another angle for the Gladiators to be. And now Birdring with the Nano overclock. Just a ton of damage going into Dante. It's a pretty important Bionade as well from Twilight here onto Dante. Kai gets pressured by Smurf just like in the backline. So this is a really good fight by the Boston Uprising. It's really well played by the Boston Uprising. So many different things going on here. Like, this is a messy fight. There's a lot of things you could like pinpoint to and get into here, but yeah, it's really a great push onto Funny Astro to force the beat early. 2-man beat. Kai dies because he doesn't have beat. Dante gets bionated, so he loses positioning and the Nano overclock. Like, this is a really good fight by the Boston Uprising, all in all. They navigated Sound Barrier and Annihilation. And Boston Uprising just like... That was like almost like a perfect fight from the Boston Uprising.
Oh, I've got a Sherlock Holmes-esque mystery here that someone in the VODs is going to have to look at, Lemon. Funny Astro after the Nano overclock came...
But yeah, that was crazy. Such a quick execute. I mean, it happens in seconds. It's crazy. Is this VOD remains? You mean this VOD review? I'm going to try in the editor to slice out this VOD review, and it'll be today's video, because I don't really have a video today.
Use this sound barrier, didn't get cancelled, only hit him. Line of sight like you'd see usually from a shield, so where was Daniel? What was he up to? It was incredibly close, and this one is a...
Well, I'll try. I'll find a way, I promise.
So impressive on the... to nerf her down to a state where she was both fun and fair, and that might be a slight advantage, even though Birdring here on the attack likely...
So, okay. I need to write down some thoughts here. So, takeaways from that. Kevster is just crazy. Kevster, just crazy with the Tracer. Playmaker, finds pulse bombs. Finds picks. Plays with Dante to pressure for positioning. Next up, decent disengages by Gladiators. Decay synchronized with Smurf. Kester's pretty nuts. Kester's pretty crazy with it. Birdring as well. Birdring. He's reliable. Playmaker. Finds 2Ks. Stuff like that. 3Ks. Gladiators forced Boston to take some all-in dives. Because they're playing this Ramatra, it forces Boston to go pretty aggressive in these dives. And, you know, it's pretty all-in. That's like why Legion is with it. Like, you can't outlast. You can't outlast the Ramatra in these fights. So it sort of forces Boston Uprising to go pretty all-in these dives and finds pick. And it worked really well on the first round. On the second round, it worked at times as well. But it's a nice way to navigate around the compositional matchup. Legion gone.
That's going to be down to Kevster, who thus far against Decay, I think has been doing very well.
Died a lot, but not really his fault. I'm absolving blame from Legion gone. He had to play aggro. He had to play aggro in this matchup.
Definitely going to be tough now that you have the Suzu from the Kiriko. And even asleep, there's lots of things to consider when going up against the Glads. But on the defense, you might have a lot to worry about if a D.Va is going to be the confirmed rollout. I think we might have seen this from the
All right.
at least one other team.
So what do we have here? Boston Uprising, they're swapping in Kalios to play this D.Va for them. They also have Isayaku, who's going to swap to Zenyatta here in just a second. Boston know that Gladiators play this composition because I believe they played it. They played it yesterday. We talked about this before. Gladiators composition. I like their composition overall. The Babel, Lastro, Kiriko, Ana backline. It's really solid, really hard to kill. Babel can navigate all around the map, protect and help his tracer. He can also, like, you know, TP back and Susu Lastro if the dives comes in. It's a very dynamic kind of like support hero. But Babel also likes to play very aggressive, can find picks on this hero. Boston Uprising. Boston is going to play the slower composition this time around. So, like we saw, Gladiators played the slower composition with the Ramatra on Antarctic Peninsula. They were vying for positioning a lot of the time. They tried to force Gladiators' hand. Just like on that map, this map, Boston Uprising are playing the slower composition because they have the Zenyatta and they have the D.Va. So the D.Va is a lot for protection of the Zenyatta as well. The D.Va is going to be like a force to be reckoned with. If you're Winston, if you're Dante in this matchup, you can't really take, like, you know, a 1-versus-1 duel against the D.Va because the shotguns are going to blow you up. You're just going to take so much damage. Your bubble is going to get dealt with. So Dante has to make the choice here on the Winston to either pretty much like fall back or to go like super deep. So in a similar position that Smurf was in, because he loses the tank matchup against Kalios, you want to get into the backline and sort of like get onto Isayaki. Now, that's going to be very difficult because as soon as you go, the peel is going to be there. So the Gladiators almost have to play like a ring around the rosy to look for picks here. Because they're not really playing this like super all-in dive composition. That's going to mean that it's like pressure for Babel to find picks with the Kiriko, with his darts. Going to be a lot of pressure on Kevster to find these picks before Boston Uprising like work their way through this positioning. So Boston Uprising played a slower composition here, and the Gladiators have to find a way to sort of like tear this comp down, to sort of find a pick in this Boston Uprising tank here. So you can see immediately here, Dante's playing on the high ground to the right side. Kalios is going to fly onto him. That forces Dante to escape because he can't win that tank matchup. He's also going to get Discord. That's bad news for Dante. And you can see that Boston Uprising, they're moving as a team here on with the protection of Kalios to prevent any dives. This is a bait. This is bait right here. If the LA Gladiators, they commit here with the Winston, with the Tracer, Boston are just going to win. Like, with the defense matrix going on, with defensive bionades, this is just bait. So if you're the Gladiators, you can't do anything here. Now, the Gladiators have to find a way to sort of like get onto the backline here, while waiting for Boston to contest the point and put pressure. So Bobble finds a nice pick, as I said. Bobble, a lot of pressure on him to find picks alongside Kevster and you know, finding bionade, stuff like that. So Bobble actually finds a pick there. Now, see if they can engage on the back of that. They're not playing like super all in here. They're still like trying to not overextend. They're like playing angles, minimizing damage, while also looking for picks. Dante goes down, but Kevster finds a pick here. So you can see that, like, when you're playing against like a Zenyatta and a biotic grenade, like, there's so much damage here, there's so much risk of you dying, that the Gladiators are still operating with like caution here. Because if they get picked 2 or 3, like, you know, it just turns into a bit of a clown fiesta here on this point 8. So Gladiators are trying to be very careful and navigate around this very lethal Boston Uprising composition with a lot of like offensive capabilities. Okay, same thing here. Decay is going to play with Kalios here for that extra damage output as well. Baba looking for picks here, looking to break this Boston composition apart. Seeing some rotates. Trying to get Isayaki in a position to apply this Discord Orb. And we're going to see Boston Uprising are going to try to walk up onto this point now. And almost like force the dive. If they can force this dive and then peel, that's great news. Lastro has built this Nano. He will want to Nano Dante while they go for this dive. Decay, Pulse Bomb, tries to get a pick there, doesn't get it. Kevster gets picked by Isayaki. Again, it's such a like hard composition to navigate Boston Uprisings, because there's just so much stuff you can die from. And Kalios get rolled there. I think he took an orb to the face as well. He's 200 health. Yeah, he took Zen orbs, 100 health. And he gets followed up on by a shot from Birdring and Kalios. So, so much going on here. So much damage coming out from this Boston Uprising composition. And the Gladiators end up dying. Bobble's going to use his Kiriko Rush here. But it's not a great decision. So, point B is going to be very interesting here. Kai is going to pick this Widow because, again, it comes down to the pick potential. You need to find picks if you're the LA Gladiators composition here. You can't, like, really fight head-on, and you can't really, like, dive all in. The sidelines for point B is going to allow Kai to get, like, really long sidelines here to try and find a pick before Boston Uprising can engage. Like, it's not like Boston Uprising can, like, aggressively engage here with pace. And so you know they're going to cross some of these sidelines, and that opens up the Widowmaker pick from Kai here. Again, if you're Boston Uprising, you're happy to like slow down the pace here. Kalios, Diva is really hard to kill. He's just going to push this card forward. Boston Uprising, they're going to play indoors. And if the if the LA Gladiators, they start putting like card pressure here with like Winston and like a Tracer, maybe like Bionades, stuff like that. I mean, then the Boston Uprising are going to help out Kalios and make sure he stays alive. Maybe try to find a pick themselves. But Boston Uprising as it stands, happy to just slow things down here. And they're just going to avoid the Widowmaker. So, as we round this corner here, okay, Isayaki finds another pick on the Kevster. Matrix out here. I believe they want to Matrix out here and like protect the team from Widowmaker shots and get into the next indoors area here. They bait in Dante. Again, I talked about on point A, the baiting people in here. Going to force Dante's Primal. Again, if you're Boston, you're fine with this. You're fine with this. You got an ultimate out. Decay finds a nice pick onto Kai. That's a great play by Decay here. And now you can start to beat the LA Gladiators down. So, Boston Uprising, taking it slow, happy to slow things down. And then they bait Dante in. And they get a pick, and then they snowball with that pick. Also, great pulse bomb by Decay.
forced a huge resource out of...
So let's see if they're like Gladiators, they can find some angles here. Massively important here. Kai, long sightlines, trying to get a pick up with this Widow. But also Kevster with this Pulse Bomb. Kevster has to find some kind of value here with the Pulse Bomb.
Gladiators have been able to get huge amounts done here by forcing out early resources from...
And this is a very strong sightline for the Gladiators here. You can play this long sight angle here, and the Boston Uprising can't really round it. There's no pressure on Dante here either to like dive in or something like that. Dante just wants to preserve this card. So he probably should have swapped to some other hero here, because Winston, not the best hero if you want to... if you just want to like contest the payload and buy time for the rest of your team, almost like a diva pick himself would be pretty good here. Baba looking for picks, but again, the Gladiators should not be in a rush here. They should... Okay, that works. But it's almost like the Gladiators also want the Boston Uprising to like push in here. Kalios is on the cart on the bottom left corner right now, putting pressure on the cart. That's going to open up these supports and Birdring as well to come out of this building. And when Boston comes out of the building, that is when Gladiators have the best opportunity to strike and try to find some of these picks. Happen to get a lucky little headshot here onto the K. And that's just going to buy more time. 2 minutes to go here for the Gladiators. Kalios takes a lot of damage here, but look at these wide angles that the Gladiators are taking. Just trying to break apart this composition. The K gets poked. But again, Dante, he's fine. He doesn't need to dive. He's just holding this corner to buy time for the rest of his team to find picks and to find these wide angles and long sight lines to find picks themselves. Don't want to take like a heads-on duel. Kai finds a pick this time. Nano comes out onto Dante with the shield, just trying to preserve, just trying to like buy time for the rest of his team. Not trying to go aggressive or anything. And Kevster is going to get a pick onto the backline as well, utilizing these flanks that open themselves up when Boston goes in. And the picks come in from Gladiators. So Gladiators manipulating positioning really well right now to let Boston themselves open themselves up for some of these picks. I believe Birdring is going to swap here. I wonder if he swaps here. Yeah, Birdring has High Noon. High Noon is going to be no use here. Like, what are you really High Nooning for? You're High Nooning for like space on the point at best, I assume. But it's just not the great ultimate right now. So instead with the Widowmaker, you're going to disincentivize Kai to have these sightlines for free. And you're also going to make it even more difficult for Babylon Lastro to just like spam for free and tries to get some of these picks. So slowing things down pretty heavily here.
They're not even gonna see each other. Wah. We need to just like screw this match. Let's go into a Widow.
I'm curious about the Kiriko pick here from Twilight. The Susu is going to help Birdring stay alive if the dives come in from Dante and Kevster. So that's a way to turn things around here. If Birdring gets dove, you can utilize the Susu that way. I think he also thinks that Kiriko Kitsune Rush might be more effective in this very final stage of point B as well, because if you can just put the Kitsune Rush on the cart, you're going to have such a drastic advantage over your opponent that you can hopefully just like cap out the point and win over time of the duration of the Kitsune Rush. So I think that's why Twilight picks this. I don't know if he'll have enough time to secure this ultimate though. Birdring is very far in the back alone. If I'm Kevster, who's currently on the cart, very far away though, this would I would be suspicious of this. Birdring utilizes his hook, going to play indoors. Kai finds a pick. But Gladiators doing a great job right now, just finding picks. Kevster finds Kiriko. I think Twilight is like in the center. Yeah, Twilight's like in the center right now. I don't know if I love that.
Getting a DMAC onto Kalios would be ideal, even forcing out the self-destruct. You don't want to use that, though. Kalios is going to get burned down by Kepster in a second. I wonder if they're gonna...
And this is bad if you're Boston Uprising, because you're just getting staggered and getting torn apart. Birding finds a back on Kai, it doesn't really matter. Kai's just gonna spawn. Birding dies, late stagger again as well.
The Widowmakers and being able to find their targets. Only 20 seconds remain now. Boston Uprising are very quickly running out of time here on second point, and we could see a repeat performance of Los Angeles.
So let's see here if they I can see Bobble and Dante combine for a Kitsune rush here. If you wanted to get into the backline here and then just get out, force this trance somehow. If you could force this trance actually, that would be massive for the Gladiators. Infra side is going to force Boston Uprising hand here. You just have to hide. You have to hide like the moment which overtime is about to start. So really well timed by Kai here. And Isayaki, well, probably shouldn't have done that. Kevster finds a pick on the Twilight. Kitsune rush is being used, I'm guessing, on the point here as well. So nicely done. Nicely done by the Gladiators. Understanding the strength of Boston's composition and playing well around it. Gave themselves an opportunity to win there.
Kind of gap for Birdering, who just only had the small room to really operate from. Then Boston had a good punish on the Dante when he...
And I mean, it's not really like Boston Uprising can bring out the Lucio here and play some kind of engage comp. It's not super strong here on Point B Blizzard World anyway, but you're sort of like committed to this slower double flex support approach.
Who was kind of playing around Kevster, knowing that he could TP out for free easily, and you can hit easy headshots on Widowmakers as well, because they're slowed down or scoped in, and they got a big old headshot hitbox. The Uprising on Blizzard.
Okay, so Gladiators are going to roll out with the Zarya here. I think it's pretty common knowledge that Zarya really strong against D.Va in these tank matchups. Gladiators back on these fast-paced compositions. Historically speaking, Gladiators usually are a pretty aggressive team. They like to be the aggressor, play fast, dive in. And this Zarya is going to be able to stand up a bit better in this tank duel than just a basic Winston, who might just get shred up by D.Va and stuff like that. Now, if you're Boston Uprising here, it gets a bit iffy. I mean, we've seen this rotation so many times, especially in like GOATS matchups on Blizzard World here. Where now, if you're the Boston Uprising, you have to like rotate your team, shift your team around the point, but you also can't like back off too far, because then you're going to give Gladiators point control, high ground, and like the protection of these little barriers here, like around the point. So Gladiators with this pick, it's actually quite genius the way they flank around here. Now, the one thing I don't like is that Boston are just going to like give up the point here for free, essentially, at Dante Zarya. Kalios is going to see this Zarya and just like, oh fuck, it's a Zarya. And he hops back a little bit. But like, Gladiators shouldn't be allowed, in my opinion, to just like walk onto this point for free without using any resources. Dante still has 2 Zarya bubbles. They probably still have Bionade, all of this stuff. If you're the Boston Uprising, you sort of need to hold your ground, because otherwise you're going to simplify and shorten this distance that the Gladiators have to close to get one of these dives off successfully. So we know that the LA Gladiators, they're playing the Lucio, they have the speed boost, they have to find a way to make this speed boost useful. And the closer they can be to their opponent, the better. Kalios flying back here, I think that's a pretty bad mistake, because now, suddenly, Gladiators have point control, Kai has high ground, and they haven't even been forced to really use anything in this position. And it's not, in my opinion, like Boston Uprising have to be scared of something. It's a 0 energy Zarya. And I think Boston Uprising are just straight up not ready for this pick whatsoever. I think if they play Gladiators again on this point, knowing that Zarya might come out, like one VOD review, and I think they approach this very differently. and they are like very, of course, prepared for this, right? But I think they're caught a bit off guard here. Now, Gladiators, take a second, recharge, refocus, and get a little bit of energy, and they're just going to like zoom onto Twilight right here. And then the dive comes through. So that would have been much easier for Boston Uprising to navigate if they had made life a little bit more difficult for the Gladiators there. But Dante had both bubbles, pretty close distance to close, short distance to close, and you get right on top of the backline of Boston Uprising, a Twilight who doesn't have any movement abilities or no one to really help him at all, and they get run over. Now, this time, Boston Uprising on the defensive side. Now they're playing the Senana, again with the sightlines here. It's a difficult point to navigate here if you are the offense. You're going to be exposed for a very long time, which is going to mean a lot of Discord Orb damage from the enemy team. Birdring is going to play the high ground and have a fantastic time against you. Biotic Grenade, Sleep Darts, all of this stuff. Boston Uprising in this position, they have a very good time against the offense that doesn't have a lot of protection. Because again, we're a single tank in Overwatch 2. So you don't have as many like tank abilities to escort you around these very like open angles. So again, we're just going to push up the card here for the Gladiators. And then you can sort of make 2 or 3 options here. Either you swing around the right side into the building to get out of these sightlines. You try to push aggressively on top, but that distance is going to be pretty short, pretty close. Oh my god, I'm just fumbling my words on. Pretty difficult to close that gap and get on top of the backline, as we saw on point A. So the Gladiators forced to play pretty slow here. They're going to build this Nano. But I don't think they'll be able to do a lot with it here, because they don't really have a way to do it. Kalius gets poked here by the Zarya. Dante getting a lot of respect here. Pops 1 bubble. Kalios not in LOS for his healer here. Kalios just taking a lot of damage in general. I don't like how Kalios is playing this Diva versus Zarya matchup. Grav comes out here. Forces the Nano. Honestly, not a terrible idea from Dante with this solo Grav. If you get a pick that there, that's huge. Not sure where the pulse bomb is from Kevster. But you force the Nano. I don't hate the idea. It was a nice idea from Dante, but it doesn't work out. Maybe also if Birdring wasn't like literally on the high ground with your Tracer not being able to follow up. But this is probably where Dante should swap off the Zarya, because it's so hard. If you're playing Zarya on this point, it's so hard to make your opponent respect you and be proactive and have a lot of input on this hero, because you need to find a way to get it on the high ground, but you don't have any movement abilities. And even if you get up there, you're probably gonna have 0 energy anyway, or, you know, close to 0. So Dante not really doing anything on this hero right now. Kai is just going to pray that he finds some picks. And Kevster should be helping Dante right now with some Tracer duels, I believe. But yeah, he gets blown up. Kevster just finds a backline pick. I mean, I don't know how Kevster does it, dude. I don't know how he does it. He just conjures up magic. Is he playing with Funny Astro or something? Okay, it seems to be a Kai arrow. Is Ayaki full health? That's a Tracer clip, I think. Yeah, I think it just takes like 2 Tracer clips or something. That's crazy. Beat comes out from Lastro. I mean, I don't know what's going on at this point. He beats to keep Kevster alive so they can capitalize of this Zen pick, I believe. I think Lastro's mindset is that we got a Zen pick and so we can snowball with this, but they're not really in a position to do so. So that looked really bad, but I think in Lastro's mind, he's like 4 versus 4. we can win here. If Dante was like a Winston or something to like push tempo, then maybe, but he wasn't even there, and he's also playing a Zarya, so like how do you push off this momentum here? Did keep Kevster alive for what it's worth. Okay, lots of ultimates here. Boston Uprising, they have to... Gladiators have to force Boston hand some way here. Whether it's like poking the backline, getting out the trance early, getting Kalios low, force out the nano early. You need to find a way back into sort of like the ultimate economy here if you're the LA Gladiators. But Kalios finds a pick, Kevster's Pulseman gets eaten. This suddenly looks like really bad. And the nano gets used on Dante. Dante finds a pick on the bird ring. Oh my god, they actually turned this around. This is crazy. Okay. So... Okay. So, 5 versus 4. Kalios takes a matchup versus a Zarya that has a bubble. The Zarya gets nanoed. He has self-destruct, so, I mean, I guess that's fine. Trance comes out to try to save Kalios, but it's too late. And they can't get Dante. So, this is just a bit of a clown fiesta going on right here from the Boston Uprising. Kalios tries to push tempo after the pick. He pushes into a Zarya that gets nanoed. The Transcendence is played from Isayaki, and you just wasted your self-destruct. So, Gladiators are now let back into the match because 2 ultimates were essentially just wasted from the Boston Uprising. Dante goes down. Isayaki finds the pick onto Bubble. So, alright, Boston are going to win this match. Birdring also used High Noon. But suddenly, like, the ultimate economy has now sort of been brought back a little bit. So it's not 5 ultimates anymore. It's now just 2 you have to worry about. So open the door a little bit to the Gladiators to call themselves back here.
Against these double flex supports, and now though the cart pressure has changed the dynamic of the battlefield.
Kai finds a pick, and holy shit! Not only is the ultimate economy now fine, and you sort of have like an even playing field here, you also found a pick onto the Ana. Now, if you're the Gladiators, you're thinking, holy fuck, this is our chance. We got Grav, we got Dragon. Kai immediately like Sonics this air. You can see he Sonics the high ground here. He Sonics the high ground. If there's a like a Zenyatta or like an Ashe or something around there, you can tell that they want to like make a play on that. Dante is looking for something to grab here that's not like out of control. That's not like way too far. He finds Kalios. He really wants to find a grab here before Twilight gets back. Kalios is here, trying to bait the nano. Kalios is going to die. Dante is going to use... Dante is using the grab to close out the Diva. And I actually don't hate this.
At least Kalios is there, but someone has to maintain the cart, by the way. We don't want AC.
It's because... You might look at this grab and be like, well, he didn't get value from the grab. Like, he's only using it to kill a Biba. But he's securing the kill. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go wrong here with, like, killing a baby Diva. So he's securing the kill from the Diva. And hopefully with that, that gives you enough card pressure to the point where you can cap these 4 meters. Because realistically, that's all you need. They don't have Trance. They don't have Bob. And so... hopefully you pray that this is enough card pressure for you now to close out this map. So he's not thinking like, what is the max value I could get with this grab? Like, what do I need to win? You know, what do we need to win? But Decay finds a pick in the back here. I wonder if anyone is helping him out with this. It looks like something hits Kai, but I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's like a bird ring shot or something. And Decay then hits a pulse. So this is actually like a ginormous play by Decay here. Because this should have been it. This should have been it for the Gladiators. But it's just like an enormous play. from Decay getting 2k there.
But the flank pressure from Izayaki and Decay was too much for Glads to handle.
Decay
As you
is him. There's no other way to say it. If you guys haven't, by the way, check out Yiska's video on Decay as a gatekeeper. Fantastic look into Decay's career and how this might be his chance to truly claim the championship for everyone else.
How do you feel about the Ashe panic pick? I don't hate the Ashe panic pick too much actually. Yeah, I don't hate it. It's sort of like a medium range, kind of like between Cassidy and the Widowmaker, sort of. It helps out with the card pressure, as well with Dynamite. Dynamite's a pretty scary ability, to be honest. Pretty strong. And it gives you the bob as well. Like if you want to have a bob on the cart, it gives you some more point pressure while also some like medium range damage. So I actually quite like the bob. I think the fact that Birdring just like swapped over to the Ashe, I think that's just like a really smart move that I don't think a lot of damage players would have done. I don't think a lot of hitscan players in this moment are thinking, why should I pick Ashe over Cassidy? But it's just like, it just comes naturally to Birdring. You know, veteran at this point, very smart player. And he acknowledges like that Ashe probably is the pick here. And I agree with him. I think it's a great pick here. Consistent damage, helps you out on the card. Helps you in the tank matchup. And it has more pick potential than a Cassidy. Like, he just lobbed in a Dynamite there. I believe it hit both Bobble and Lastro. Just lobs it in there. Shoots a Dynamite. Gives you an angle that Cassidy wouldn't have. Oh my god, what a clutch nano there. Birdring would have died. That is a clutch nano from Twilight. Holy shit, the reaction time. Dude, look at the reaction time from Twilight here. That is unbelievable. And again, like a Cassidy couldn't do this damage, but he also has enough protection that like he's not as exposed as a Widowmaker, right? So it's like a medium range kind of pick, and I think it's really smart from him. I'm not sure if I love this nano onto Dante. I think there's also an option where you could like have nanoed Kevster here for example. So Kevster could have been nanoed and go after Birdring. Kevster could have been nanoed and go after Izayaki, Twilight even. I think that's like a pretty aggressive play you can have in your playbook. But I think it comes back to a similar point we saw with the Zarya, where they're going to nano Dante here just to like put pressure on the cart. Like all they care about is pushing this cart 2 more meters. And a D.Va is really strong in close range, so you get to chew up the enemy tank. And if, you know, Zenyatta is close enough, you can dive for Izayaki as well. So, again, they're just trying to, like, put their eggs in, like, the card pressure basket. You can see that Dante is trying to go for a play onto Izayaki here as well. He boops him away. He's going to turn onto Kalios here. So, Gladiators are trying desperately to just get Boston off this payload. And this nano is another like example of a resource they're putting into that. But they just can't get it done. The bob comes out. The bob is massive. So I think Birdring just like an incredibly strong pick here going over to the Ashe. And Decay had like a super clutch 2k. Decay had a super clutch 2k to sort of save them in the fight prior when the Graviton Surge came out. So and the Twilight has the super clutch nano. It's just like a super well played defense by the Boston Uprising here. And honestly, at times they should have lost this map, but they just had like clutch performances from all their members. Like that's all you can say. Like it's not like huge like team setups or anything. Like really, the players were just super clutch. Good hero swap by Birdring. Really well played by Boston Uprising. And the Gladiators, honestly, the Gladiators closed that out against probably any other team in the league. It's actually that crazy. So there we go. A super entertaining 2-0 between the Boston Uprising and the LA Gladiators. Very, very fun. I enjoyed that thoroughly. And again, I'm impressed by both teams in this matchup. I pointed out the things that I really liked the Gladiators were doing when it came to playing positionally. Kevster is an absolute beast. I think the Zarya pick was smart. There's just so many things to like about both of these teams. And it's a shame we didn't go to a third map, honestly. Map 1 was an absolute banger too. So there you have it. A quick VOD review between the Boston Uprising and the Los Angeles Gladiators, and that's going to close out me today. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Watch Party Day 2, Week 2. And I'm going to post this video on my YouTube. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for Watch Party Day 3, all right?